Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Srinivas here. Am I audible to you? Thank you for the confirmation. So I am Srinivas, and we will be having this DevOps with AWS live demo session today, and I will be the instructor for the DevOps with AWS for the next 15 days of the course. So introducing myself, I'm Srinivas once again, having almost 18 years of experience in the industry of IT. And last 5 years, I've been working on bringing up the tools required for development and infrastructure, now combining both into DevOps. This is my portfolio. I have been working on transforming the development and operations teams into DevOps from last 2.5 to 3 years, which has been like a consultant for them. Prior to that, I have worked on infrastructure as well as development as well. So combining both this knowledge, I've been moving forward with the DevOps concept. Well, okay, just wanted to check. We have 7 attendees. Good to know. And okay. I could see that the audience can view my screen. Could you please check the connectivity bandwidth? Hey guys, any one of you are able to see my screen, or it is not? Thank you for the confirmation. Right. Okay, let's start with the demo session. First of all, let us try to understand how the product development is going on. You know, organizations doesn't need only tools. Organizations need people also. So and processes. So one of the first processes the development teams have introduced was waterfall model with the software development life cycle. Correct? So you might have learned about this waterfall model quite a time back in your college time, or maybe during the first course of your training. So in this, basically the initial requirement gathering will be there, then design will be there, then develop, implement, maintain the systems. Now, while developing and while testing, if you have any problems that you encounter, you go back to the beginning of development and you redesign the code. And I have seen situations like this also. So the development team works for around 6 months of time, develop the entire code for the given requirements, and outsource the testing to a different organization. And the organization, they test with different test cases for 2 months, and at the end of 2 months they come out with a beautiful report saying that, hey guys, here are the problems that you have, your code is having, and these are the places where you need to correct. Now the question is, will the developer remember what he has coded 2 months before? This is one of the major problems that waterfall models have seen that. Then organizations have come out with the concept of agile development. You know, the entire code will not be developed at once. You might be knowing that a bits and chunks of application will be developed and will be deployed. Now here the problem is the development people are ready to go ahead with the existing code and develop it and deploy it, and the testers have the tough time. The testers, they have to do a testing of multiple iterations which are coming in from the source code, from the developers, same testing for the different versions or different versions. So here the tester has to do a lot of work, and that is going to impact the performance. But this is being a repetitive work. Why can't we automate this? This was the first question that has come in. Good. So that's where they come in, the tools for automating the testing like Selenium or load runner, performance testing, etc. So these are the new things they have introduced. Good. Then how to bring out the code without a defect. Another process has come in that's called Scrum. The testers, the developers, and the Scrum Master, everyone will sit together. Finally, a module comes out defect-free. Now, if you look at the pretty interesting part here is every time this agile movement or the process development is happening on the development side, the development guys are getting and the testing guys are getting a lot of new processes coming in, and there is another set of guys who have been working on the constant thing that's called stability. Those are the operations guys. Do you remember anytime you went to the IT team with a desktop failure, or maybe the deployment of any application needs to be done on any test environment or production environment changes? You might have gone to them. The first answer you get is, yeah, what is the window? Is that window feasible? What is the downtime? No, has this been tested? Kind of 100 questions will come back to you. See, the development guys and the testing guys are more agile and are more focused on changing the things in a span of clicks. And the operations guys, if you look at, they are more like sturdy, and they're saying that, yeah, we want stability. That's not agile. Basically, it's we want stability. We want more uptime. Any change results in a downtime. And when you want a testing environment, yeah, there is a budget associated with it. You need to get some systems. There is a budget associated with it. Now, if you want a source code management system, a new branch to be created, again, you need to create a ticket. And forget, if you have to do something on the prod environment, there is huge process behind that. There is a change request. There is a scheduled downtime. There is a scheduled resources list. Then there is a run book. And all this, once it comes in, then only operations will start their work. So here, in the operation side, if you look at, we have been developing more stabilization using ITIL frameworks, correct? And here we are bringing, in the development side, we are bringing more agility. Now, think about how difficult it is to combine both of them and bringing a collaboration between these two. Correct? So if you have to bring in these operations guys and the development guys together and make it like a DevOps, I mean, is it going to be so easy? And what is needed for that? So it's pretty simple to showcase in any presentation, saying that, yeah, I'm going to bring in DevOps ecosystem just like this. Does it happen like this? You just, with a click or with a kind of set of 3 or 4 tools, can you bring the DevOps ecosystem completely and bring in the a stable and more stable and zero downtime guys with more agile guys? Yeah, this is what actually we are going to discuss in the due course, how to bring in the DevOps ecosystem. So if you look at the when a particular code is released, from the development guys, how the testing guys, what the testing guys will do, how the testing guys are going to test it. So they have a standard checklist of they have a standard list of things to do. So okay, I need to prepare certain use some existing test cases. If there is a change in the code, I may have to add a couple of more test cases, then I have to test, then I have to prepare the report and I have to give it. Now anywhere is this documented? Does any organization has this kind of documenting things? Roles and responsibilities might be there, but do they have a checklist? Do they have kind of framework given to you? I don't think so. Usually this comes out from a culture. That's why organizations look at people who are having the experience in the culture, because they bring in the culture. So an experienced tester will have definitely a knowledge and a culture with him where he will have, okay, the new code is coming in, so I have to include these tests, and the code has so and so components, so I need to involve these plugins, and I need to do the checks, and after testing I need to give a report in a particular format which elaborates the details. This knowledge and this culture he is already having. And you remember, this culture is more important when it comes to DevOps. DevOps talks about operations and DevOps talk about development teams. Development teams develop the code, test it, and have the testing results available. Now, I was talking about in the initial SDLC and all that, when it is outsourced for testing, after developing a code, when it is outsourced to a testing, they come out with a beautiful report after 2 months. Will the developer remember? So how soon the report should come for the developer to be able to make any changes to the code? A week? I'm sure it is difficult. 2 days should be fine. But what if a developer gets a report of the bugs in his code, or maybe the quality of code immediately, maybe in a span of minutes? Correct? Yes. That is where the tools help in. That's called an automation. Now, automation doesn't work just like a kind of software application. Automation comes out from patterns, right? If you look at any automation that is being brought in, maybe in the call centers, or maybe in the hospitality management, it comes out like okay, how the humans have been behaving. That input will be taken based on the how the questions are coming, how the answers need to be given. Based on the pattern, actually it is going to build. The artificial intelligence is going to learn out of it, and it is going to automate. So any automation depends on patterns. So how frequently you are committing the code into version management, VCS, source code management, and how often you need the code to be compiled, and how often you need that to be tested, and when you need to have the report. Based on these patterns only, this entire DevOps ecosystem and automation works. Okay, so let's move forward a little bit. So finally, out of this, what is a DevOps? If you have a question in your mind, so a straight answer from most of the guys I have heard from the top management as well is DevOps is a set of tools and automation. No, that is not agreeable. DevOps is not a set of tools. Means, okay, I do have Apache SVN I have, and I have then I have TeamCity, then I have Maven or Ant, and I have Puppet in hand. Does it mean that I am DevOps? I'm already DevOps? Absolutely speaking, that is not DevOps. Those are tools for a DevOps, agreed. But DevOps is not tools only. DevOps is a culture. And this is the culture I was giving an example from the tester, right? So the tester comes in, when a new experienced guy joins in the organization, he brings a culture with him, right? The same way, DevOps is a culture that needs to be brought into an organization. And the culture demands strong collaboration between the agile guys and the stable guys. That is the development teams and the operations team. See, here is the interesting part I was talking about. How do you bring in the development and operations guys onto the same board? This is by bringing in the collaboration. And this is the culture that needs to be brought in. Yes. Then what about tools? Yes, I do agree. Tools are also part of it. Basically, DevOps is a culture when you talk about as a concept, and DevOps is a framework when you look at as an operations point of view. And this framework has its own tools, its own enablers, its own levers. So for example, TeamCity or Jenkins will be its enabler. This will enable integration part, continuous integration part. And Puppet is a tool that enables, or Ansible maybe, or Chef maybe. They are enablers for DevOps framework, which will give continuous deployment, which will enable the continuous deployment. So tools are mandatory, and along with that, the culture needs to be built. And the culture cannot be built in a day. That's why we call DevOps as a project. Like a project has a start and end date. Yes, DevOps has a starting point where operations team and development team are completely separate. Now we bring in a DevOps culture and we take it to the final stage where operations team and development team both are collaborating and bringing in the complete DevOps framework. That means the organization is complete with DevOps. So what if, okay, what's in for an organization, what are the benefits of bringing DevOps? When you look at Agile, DevOps framework helps Agile a lot. You can adopt for a shorter release cycles because In DevOps, once you commit the code into the source code management system, then immediately you can ask for a build. It can be automated. Immediately it can be automated to create a build, test it, and then deploy it in a test environment or prod environment as and when it is needed. So this allows you to bring in more shorter releases cycles, and it brings you more agility. Not only bringing the more agility, but it also reduces the complexity. Where is the complexity comes in? Yeah, if you have kind of an issue in the code, maybe some classes are not incorporated, Java classes are not incorporated, or some dependencies of a JDK. JDK in your test environment is different, and in your development environment is different, and production environment is different. Such kind of complexities are coming up. Yes, the entire build process can be monitored end to end. Into the build, the testing, the deployment, everything can be monitored, and the result can be shown immediately, which will allow you to fix the things rapidly. And at times you can have, like I told you, right, the development team is having one version of JDK, the testing team is having another version of JDK, the test environment is having another version of JDK, production is having a different version of JDK. So in this case, you can have parameterized builds also, which can be automated, and based on that, the build can proceed. So this is the advantage of bringing end-to-end monitoring and automation and reduce the complexity. Now, this is all for development teams. Then what is for ops teams? Yes, the environments are stable and reliable. Now with this, what happens is, okay, we can have multiple parallel releases can be planned. What exactly this means? I have, okay, in my experience, I have observed a product is being developed. Let us say 7.1 is going on, and there is a future release. 7.2 is already being planned, and 7.1 has a hotfix or a patch that is coming in. That means 7.1, 7.1 patch, 7.2, and the concept of 7.3. All these are running in different test environments, and all these builds are happening in a single click. For each of the build, single click, the build goes on and will be deployed to a specific environment. And there are operations guys who will look after, who will monitor the environments, who will monitor the applications, who will monitor the builds and configure the entire continuous deployment. This is how, this is how we can have stable and reliable operating environments supporting multiple parallel releases. Right. This is the best part. I have observed different organizations having issues. IT business gap. The infrastructure or operations team and the business. These two are two different entities, they look like. Most of the organizations have complained about it. And development teams always say that, yeah, whenever we wanted to have a development environment, yeah, we need to budget it. And if we are crossing certain numbers, then definitely it is not available to us. Let us say we have requested for 10 development environments and we want the 11th one, it is not available. We have to wait for 1 more year. The same issue comes in even to the test environment guys, testing guys also. Yeah, we want testing guys have a different problem altogether. Yeah, we have requested for 2 GB RAM and 60 GB system with a dual processor. Now we want quad processor and 8 GB RAM and 80 GB storage. Now suddenly the hardware requirements are increasing. We have to wait for 1 more year or exceptional budget approval. I mean, this kind of situations have arisen, and I have practically seen all that stuff. Now here, once you bring in the DevOps culture, we will have tools and we will have improved collaboration. The operations team will know when the development team, how frequently the development team and testing team will be releasing the things, and how many environments are needed. So they will be able to plan much more effectively and allocate environments to multiple builds, and the business can really focus on business. This is the advantage by bringing DevOps. And as per my understanding and the reports, most of the business time was spent on debating on approvals for systems on specific months, or sometimes they were not able to concentrate on the product release and the budget approval mechanism. So I think this will be reduced a lot by bringing the collaboration, and people can focus on their actual business. Okay. Now when we were talking about DevOps, so what exactly it has? So DevOps, also like SDLC, it has create, plan, create, verify, package, release, control, and monitor. These are the different things what DevOps ecosystem or a tool chain has. And we need to bring in one more thing. To link all this, we need some integration also. They all work like a cycle. These are the individual components. Plan, okay, plan the cycle of release and create the build, verify the build, package it, release it and deploy it, control it. Means where you can deploy, how many systems are needed, the systems deployed, and then monitor the application. Then once again it will go into planning. And this is not like SDLC, this is more like agile, bits and pieces. So version 7.1 is there, 7.2 is there, 7.3 is there. For each of them, for each of hotfix, for each of the patch that they are releasing, this entire process will be similar and it will continue. And for each of this process, like for a plan, for creating or for verifying or packaging or releasing, we do have tools. Or for monitoring, we do have different tools. And for each of these tools, we will be discussing selected tools. Not each of them, selected tools we will be discussing throughout this course, which are more important in integrating all the other tools. Fine. Till now what we have seen is, okay, what is the problem that we have with SDLC, what are the issues we had with Agile and how DevOps can fix it, and what is the advantage to the organizations by bringing in DevOps. And we also saw that DevOps is not just a set of tools, but it is also culture. Good. And now the question comes in, okay, the concept is very good. Are the organizations adopting it? How many organizations are adopting it? Or at least they are thinking of adopting it. Do I have opportunities for this? These are the questions that will come out immediately once we talk about any concept. The enterprise adoption of DevOps is given like this. This is taken from the right scale as per 2016. We are not too far from that. 2017 detail are not yet available. Right. There are 21% of the companies who are adopting DevOps company-wide. So there is a huge opportunity of DevOps engineers for it. 31% of companies are adopting DevOps for any specific BUs or divisions. Yes, they do need DevOps consultants as well as DevOps engineers. To expand the DevOps to different other business units, they need DevOps consultants as well as DevOps engineers as well. 29% are adopting DevOps for projects or teams. The same thing will continue. Here also we need huge number of consultants, and more than that, huge number of DevOps engineers. And 12% are not adopting DevOps. So yeah, here we need a DevOps consultants more, and once they start adopting, DevOps engineers are required. Don't know, 7%. Yeah. Here, yeah, consultants have more work actually. The DevOps consultants have more work. They need to analyze and make sure whether these organizations need DevOps or not. Usually, there is no organization or software organization which doesn't need a DevOps. They need. Okay, organizations are adopting it. Few organizations are adopting only business unit wide, or maybe organization wide, or only for a project. So how are the trends? If you look at for UK, we have taken specifically only one segment, because when we take at the DevOps implementation at a different regions is having different numbers. So we have taken for one particular region for UK, in which you can see that there is a growth that is happening consistently over the year and year for the contract jobs, and there are permanent jobs, and people are more inclined towards nowadays permanent jobs and than the contract jobs. Now what about the other regions? Yeah, according to the payscale.com, the Californian salaries are more than $94,000. I mean, these statements are to give the fact that yes, there is an opportunity in DevOps, and the opportunities are increasing day by day. Year on year, the numbers are increasing. Okay, how we can confirm it? Yeah, automation. You think about automation, and every newspaper is nowadays writing about automation, and DevOps is talking about only automation. Correct. What are the skills that are needed? Now, if I want to become a DevOps engineer, what are the skills I need to pick up right now and jump into the DevOps paradigm? Okay. For version control, we will be working with the Git. And for continuous integration, we are working with Jenkins now. And for virtualization and containerization, we'll be working with the Docker. And configuration management, we'll be looking at Puppet. And monitoring with Nagios. These are the tools that we will be using. Along with this, we also talk about networking skills like DNS, DHCP, web and application servers or proxies. This also will be discussed through the course. And we have a cloud awareness added to this. What is a cloud and how this will be helpful to any organization? What are part of it? We talk more about AWS in that. And when we talk about AWS, we include, mainly we focus on AWS code commit, code build, and code deploy, which are developer tools specifically designed for developers. Apart from this, we do have, apart from this, the DevOps engineer also require people management skills, process management skills, customer skills, and empathy and ITIL awareness, which are not part of this course. But all the topics that are marked in green, yes, we are covering in this course. We will talk about, when we talk about a tool, we talk about why it is needed and what exactly it does and how it is integrated into other environments or other tools, how it is integrated. These are the different things and how we can manage the tool. These are the steps that we are going to discuss for each of the tool, and we are going to have demos for each of them. Here is the course that we are going to discuss throughout the next 15 days. We talk about DevOps Essentials, which talks about why is DevOps needed, what is a DevOps, and what are the use cases, what are the tools associated in it, an introduction to them. Then we go deep into the tools like build tools. We use Git and Jenkins. Then we have build and test automation using again Jenkins. and containerization using Docker and Docker commands and use cases, Puppet for deployment, Nagios for monitoring, and how we can use AWS code commit and code build and code deploy in our DevOps environment. This is what we will be discussing. Like these are the 8 modules that we will be discussing along with this course. Just pausing for a minute. Do you have any questions here? Please raise your hand. Okay. 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 So if you have question, you can. Right. Who's this? I could see something from Satish. Satish Babu. Yes, Satish. Okay, Satish, you may type in the, if you have any question, you may type in that also. If you have enabled audio, that is better. Satish Babu, you can unmute yourself, or you are not connected to audio, or you can type in the question. I will read out. Okay. So meanwhile, in the interest of time, I'm just going a little forward. Satish Babu, I request if you can type in your question, then I will read out in the QA session and I'll answer that. Good. So in the DevOps ecosystem, we'll be discussing DevOps essentials, where we will be talking about why it is needed, what is DevOps, and what is the entire course structure, what are the components of each of the course structure, and what are the pipeline, what is the pipeline, delivery pipeline. This everything will be discussed in the DevOps essential. And once it comes from say module 2 onwards, if you look at we will be discussing about the tools and how they fit into the DevOps delivery pipeline and how they will be integrated with the other tools. For example, when we talk about Git and when we talk about Jenkins, we will be talking about how both of them can be integrated and how the source code can be pulled by Jenkins, what are the plugins required, etc. And once we go into build and test automation, yes, we will be discussing more about how we can integrate testing tools, how we can integrate other source code quality checking tools or defect checking tools, etc. into Jenkins, and we will build a pipeline in Jenkins. And when it comes to containerization using Docker and Docker commands, we will be discussing about definitely how Docker can be used and how Jenkins can be used along with Docker, and how Jenkins can deploy anything into Docker. This we can discuss. And how Puppet, when we discuss about Puppet in module 6, how Puppet will be used and how this Puppet works, how it manages the versions of software, and how this can be integrated with Jenkins or any other tool. This is something we will look into that. And Negios will be working on module 7 Negios, how to deploy Negios, how to monitor applications using Negios, or how to monitor systems using Negios. How do we send confirmation emails when something goes wrong, or some alerts when something goes wrong, and confirmation emails once something is coming back. So this is what we'll discuss. And in the module 8, we'll be discussing about the cloud awareness and AWS code commit, how this will be used, and code build, how this will be used in place of Jenkins, and code deploy, how it can be used for deploying the code into different environments. These are the different things we will be discussing throughout the DevOps course. So this entire 8 modules will be covered in 15 days. So what you will get out of this course? So at the end of each of the topic, for example, a Git, a Jenkins, or a Docker, you'll have an instant questions, test your knowledge questions at the end of each topic, so that you will come to know what about your understanding and where are the points that you need to concentrate more about. And throughout the course, we will be using a live use case, which an organization, a training organization, not actually NIT, is planning to do for its global presence, for global students. So this we will be discussing throughout the session, and this is the live thing which we will be using along the entire delivery pipeline. And we will have the registered students given access to the downloadable VM images, which can be operated using Oracle VirtualBox, and in that they can deploy all the tools. They can use all the tools which are pre-deployed. They don't need to stress on deployment, but they can use all the tools which are pre-deployed, and they can start building the cases. And they can have assignments done in each of the practical assignments done at the end of each module, and final assignment covering all the modules in the same VM images, and they can send us the screenshots, which gives you an advantage of not only understanding the course, but when it comes to the actual tools, how you can do it, how really you can implement it. And we will use the same live use case throughout the assignments also. So here are the key takeaways. Primary role of DevOps is to bring a cultural change and bring in the tools that enable the DevOps framework. The cultural change brings in the collaboration between development, who are the agile guys, and the operations teams, who are the stable guys, who want about stability and no changes. DevOps also involves tools and automation as levers to enable the cultural framework. The last one, which I explained, DevOps opportunities are wide in market. You might have seen already how many people are adopting it and how many organizations are adopting it and what are the openings which we have already shared with you. Though in 2009, the DevOps concept has been formulated and the DevOps word has been coined in 2009, and the world has been, the U.S.A. and U.K. have been moving towards it slowly. Till 2015 beginning, we haven't seen much traction in India. But since 2015 beginning onwards, I could see major traction coming in for India as well. Organizations started chanting DevOps buzzword. And I could also, it was very fortunate that I could also go through different projects in oil and metallurgy or healthcare, different application projects, which gave me an opportunity to completely transform them into DevOps. That is the, so things are actually very good in shape now, and we do have opportunities. Now, could you please post me any questions that you have? Okay, Karthik has a question. Will you explain Chef in training? Chef is not part of this training. Chef itself is a big course, and it is not part of this training. But yes, I can share you some in the due course. I can share you some links where you can go and read about them. And Chef is having a hosted platform also, so you can create your own credentials and you can practice it. So I think it will be easy for you. And guys, just to, I'm not trying to confine any tool to any one particular person, but Chef is very good tool for infrastructure automation. That's what Karthik is asking for. Yeah, Mr. Samit is asking a question. I see open tools like Nagios, Puppet, etc. are being used. Is that the practice industry-wise? Okay, that's a very interesting question. Yes, industry standard is not just about using free tools or open source tools. Industry standard is about the capability of the tool and the modularity of the tool and adaptability of the tool. These are the prime factors. If you look at any names that you have taken, Nagios has been in this industry since long. It's not just yesterday's tool. It's I could see that almost like more than 8 years or 10 years. They have been standard and they have been giving a wide number of plugins for different applications, databases, applications, customized APIs for middleware. So this kind of support they are giving. So Nagios has been understood as a standard application. It is not just an open source, but standard application. And Puppet is not a free or an open source tool. Puppet is also open source, and Puppet has a commercial version as well. And industries, organizations which have larger requirements are using commercial version of it. Yeah, if any tool is a standard and it has modular and it is adaptable and yet it is open source, yeah, of course it is. Mr. Karthik, I know you're asking about Chef, and Chef is being used widely. There is a huge debate that is happening. For example, Puppet, Chef, Puppet or Chef or Ansible or Ruby. There are different concepts that are coming in, and each has its own vertical of operations. So that's why Chef is designed as a separate training structure, because it has a wide application. And Puppet basics are included here. Puppet Enterprise Stack and all that, yes, it's a different course again. So here we are covering about the tools which are required up to DevOps, not really administering the tools or going deep into the tools that, yes, you become that tool expert. That tool expert is different. But yes, how you can use the tools to bring in DevOps culture. This is what you are looking at. Sorry. So had two questions, one from Karthik and one from Samit. And any others? Any other questions? Okay. Mr. Reddy, that's very interesting question. How can a Java developer transition into DevOps position? Very interesting question. Java developer primarily uses a source code management system, and he can be a DevOps engineer by integrating himself into Jenkins or maybe other tools. This is the automation that people are plain Java developers. People are not really moving forward right now. Yeah, Java with DevOps is adding a lot of value. There are, if you look at, every organization has almost like major chunk of Java developers. Now, a Java developer who has a DevOps knowledge with him, who can talk about Git, source code management, who can talk about Selenium, a testing tool, who can talk about how a tool can be integrated into Jenkins, how the plugins of Jenkins can be there, and how Docker can be used in an outline. Yes, definitely he has a lot of value. DevOps, okay, there are two questions, one from Samit. Do we discuss other tools equivalent to the ones in slide during the course? We primarily focus on the tools that we have mentioned earlier in the slide. And along with that, if there is a parallel equivalent tool, yes, the names I can give you. And also, why we are selecting the tool, when we discuss about it, we discuss about the other tools also a little bit. So you will have the identification of which are the other equivalent tools and why we are selecting the like Jenkins. What are the other equivalent tools? Why we are selecting Jenkins? Right? So this is how we will be going with. And Karthik is asking about any scripting knowledge is needed for a DevOps engineer. Absolutely, if there is a scripting knowledge available with him, it's a great advantage. If not, yes, that is not a kind of showstopper. So let us say if a DevOps engineer has a knowledge of Java, or let's say from the infrastructure side, having a knowledge of Ruby or Ansible, yes, definitely it is like an added advantage. But without this, yes, DevOps is still, you have DevOps. DevOps is different. Will the knowledge from this course enough to survive in the first project? Yes, if you look at the final project that we are giving, that will give you enough knowledge to survive in your first project. And from the first project onwards, whatever you learn, that will be an additional knowledge for you. The final project that the final assignment we are giving, that covers the entire aspect of a build pipeline. That is very much enough to survive yourself and to talk about DevOps in your first project. Okay, Mr. Rajesh is saying that I am currently working as a clear case admin. Is it possible to transition to DevOps case? Are companies strict on DevOps experience? Right, that's a very interesting question. Organizations are looking at DevOps experience, DevOps knowledge and experience as well. DevOps knowledge and product experience as well. Specific product experience if you have, and the knowledge in DevOps and culture, and if you have DevOps experience, that's an added one. It's the same case that you take Java developers or or the Windrunner or Load Runner or maybe Selenium testing guys, right? Rational rows, etc. So if they have product knowledge, that's a weightage. If they have experience, that's another weightage. Okay. Karthik has another question that AWS provides more than 40 services. How many services we'll discuss in training and what they are? That's a good question. So as I mentioned in the cloud awareness, in the beginning of the cloud awareness, we will talk about compute in AWS, EC2, and we talk about some storage mechanism and network. These three we will talk about in the basics. And then once it comes to AWS developer tools, we will talk about code commit, code build and code deploy a little in detail, and how they complement the DevOps, how AWS tools complement DevOps, that we will discuss detail. AWS knowledge and DevOps knowledge mutually exclusive. That's what Mr. Reddy is asking. Absolutely speaking, AWS knowledge, AWS consulting is a different. DevOps engineer or DevOps consultant are different. AWS consultant requires a different skill set. AWS consultant may require infrastructure knowledge a lot, and to an extent application knowledge, whereas DevOps, yes, infrastructure and application knowledge, they're different actually. But AWS components can complement DevOps. Does this answer your question, Mr. Reddy? Pretty interesting questions I have received till now. I'm really happy to receive all this. How frequently this course is offered by NIT? That's a question. Just wait for the end of this presentation. Right now, yes, I think this is a working day course, means everyday working day course from morning 6:30 to 9:30. And any other batches, yes, you can talk to Next IT training organizers, which I will give you the communication at the end of this presentation. Yes, Monday to Friday, you're right. Uh, 6:30 to 9:30 IST in the morning. So if someone belongs to a different time zone, please map it accordingly. Okay. Right. I believe if there are any further questions, you can still post, or should I just? Mr. Karthik, your question about will you discuss Artifactory? Artifactory, Mr. Karthik, Artifactory we are not speaking in this course. If you want, I can just forward some details.
Hello, Srinivas.
Yes.
After taking this course and when we submit the resume and we can put like we worked in one project as a Java developer or test engineer slash DevOps engineer, and with this knowledge, you can think that we have enough knowledge, assuming we do good here and also study extra, to challenge the first interview and to go through it successfully? Or is it depend upon personnel?
It is not depend upon personnel. After this course, definitely, yes, you will have enough knowledge and you will be given with support of some basic questions. What you can expect out of DevOps or tools will be given to you, and you will be good enough to understand about what you need for your first project and what you have learned, and you will be able to take up that interview.
Of course, I think we have to put in our resume that we did one project and for a couple of months DevOps engineer, right?
But only about keeping your project or something that you need to talk. That I think you better you write it to info@nextid training. They should be able to confirm you back about the. I mean,
no, I'm asking a general question, not like just your experience. Like if we mention that okay, we have done a project based upon our knowledge like this, and that will be enough.
Yeah, if you can substantiate
yes,
from your previous experience and all that, if you can substantiate that, that's fine.
Yeah, taking like the project you are going to assign and do it, and based upon that, and say we have implemented such a thing like build pipelines and use these technologies in our current project, and we can transition easily. Is that correct?
These are okay. There are two things out of it. First thing, the first point is yes, we do have one final use case or project that we call it as, which you can use the entire development or CI/CD pipeline completely. You can use all the tools and make sure that you are good enough. Make yourself sure that you are good enough to use all the tools. That is point number one. And whether this same thing can be used as a project, it has some requirements that okay. That's the reason I just wanted you to talk to NextID training info.
So you said you give us the.
You may want to. May I request? You may want to put this question not in the public forum. You may want to talk to because this has some experience. Yeah, you may need to have experience letter and all that legalities. I don't know how they work.
No, I am not talking about legalities. I am talking like a person who works hard and say he integrated some project with that knowledge, one can be successful. That's a broader idea. I'm not asking you, okay, is it going to possible? It's not like that.
Good. I mean, yeah, that's yeah. It can be treated as yes, one particular complete DevOps life cycle I have worked on. You can mention that.
It's not saying, okay, I have taken this course, I couldn't be successful. It's not like that. Just I am asking your experience.
Yeah, to be on precise, yes, I have worked on complete DevOps life cycle. That's a kind of confidence and statement you can give openly.
So we can say like, yes, I have a knowledge and I've taken the courses and implemented a part of it, and that is also reasonable in the resume instead of outright saying I worked on this.
I believe that's good.
So we can say I have enough knowledge and I can do it. That's acceptable.
That's very much.
And the question is, like you said,
you may given an opportunity, you may guide them to the next level also.
Okay. And you said you will give us the machines in the Oracle VirtualBox that has all these Jenkins servers and everything set up and all these pipelines built already, and just we start.
Not really. I
didn't get that part. What you was talking. Can you explain that, please?
Correct. The students who are registered for the course, they will get VMs in which they have Git and Jenkins kind of tools installed. Okay. Now, building the complete pipeline, configuring using a different code, and they will be given different code also, how to build how to build it, and building a pipeline and deploying it in a Docker. This everything the student has to do. Nothing is done. Only the base framework is given.
Okay, like if a student did get stuck, like what is your approach? Like, is there any help or anything?
I'm sorry?
If a student gets stuck or something, he has to wait until the class begins. Is there any other help or can you talk about that?
This question you can park for a minute, because the last slide I was about to give the same information.
Okay.
Hope I have answered all the questions except the one that I said I will be giving the information at the end of the presentation, or the last slide. Well, okay. So the first module we'll have this agenda: the DevOps essentials, why DevOps, what is DevOps, market trends, engineer skills, pipeline, and ecosystem. These are the different topics that we will be discussing, and we will be having a use case in this scenario which we will be using throughout the course for the for implementing DevOps. Okay.
So, what is that use case? Like, what business it deals with? What domain?
Yeah.
Health domain, or like a small shopping cart, or just do you have any idea, or you don't have still yet any use case?
Okay. Right now I'm just evaluating which is the use case that is best fit here. Maybe one of the cart, or maybe one of the training institute. I was talking about NIT, right? NIT wanted to establish a global portal, which a portion of it could be the use case.
Like, what was some of the use cases that you presented before? Maybe you can give an idea so that we have some idea. In the previous courses you handled for the student.
This kind of improvement that we are bringing in, that we can use the complete use case in the entire DevOps session from here. In the earlier ones, basically, we have used individual use cases for each of that. And there was a kind of the complete entire running on a pretty simple code, given code, not kind of a use case then as a assignment. these are the improvements that we are bringing from the last training onwards. And last training we had definitely different what we called IT organizations. A small code was taken, and that was built in a metals and oils kind of a simple situation.
Like, do you record these courses live and put it in the Google Share, or like how are you going to organize sharing the resources?
That's a practice that we have, and every session will be recorded. But the location of storage, that I think next IT training organizer will decide. Okay. It's not Google Drive. It's not Google Drive yet.
If a student misses a class or one or two, like he will be joining the next course, or like what is the scenario?
Okay. Not exactly next course. Every class will be recorded, and that recording will be available to you. That is point number one. Now about missing about some sessions and what can be done about it. Yeah, you have info@nextittraining.com. Please write it to them. I think that question belongs to them.
Okay.
Any technical questions related to the course can be asked. I have no objection.
Okay.
Right. You have the Skype ID, Next IT Training, or you have their numbers 9494-4946, or you have the US number also. And you have email ID info@nextittraining.com, where you can post your question detailedly, and you will have response to that completely. Okay. For each of the point.
Okay.
So I'm let us say I'm the DevOps expert, and I'm sitting here knowing about something about the course. Probably people who have the process of Next IT Training. I'm new to this, so new to the Next IT Training. So who have detailed knowledge about other processes in Next IT Training, they will be able to throw, I mean, as a team, we will be able to throw more light onto the questions to you.
Okay. Like, what is your is a 3 hours presentation, like the breaks, and like how are you planning to do the delivery every day? Like.
Good question. I do have a plan for it. Maybe first, if you are joining, the session 1 can be observed for the 3 hours, how I am going, and if there are further suggestions, definitely we do have scope for improvement. I do have a separate presentation for each of the module, and for 3 hours, how the presentation goes on or the demos goes on, this entire thing is is already planned and getting ready into the.
No, the specific question is, suppose if you are talking about the Jenkins or JIT, you are going to talk the theory for, let's say, slideshow or something for 30 minutes, and next 1 hour you'll be just executing the course and doing that, or like you're intermingling them, or do you have any a plan right now how you are going to organize the course?
So the entire, let us say your question was on Jenkins, let us, I will answer through that only.
Yeah.
In 3 hours, I'll be talking about Jenkins a little bit. For some time, then I will be showing you Jenkins demo, how each of the component can be integrated into that, and how a code can be taken into that from the source code management system. What are the pre-build step? What are the post-build step? This I will be showing as a demo as well. Okay, so this will take the entire 3 hours, and after that you will have the VMs with you if you have your own systems on which you can deploy these VMs, and you can the student can easily practice the same thing or give an assignment also.
Okay.
So some of the topics will be like quite a theory, but majority of the topics will be like part theory and part demo completely. If you talk about Docker, or you may be talking about Puppet, or you may be talking about Jenkins or Git, yes, that's how.
You will be posting these scripts at one place where we can later execute them, or just we have to go to the video and write down and execute by ourselves? Like, how do you plan?
Okay, that's a kind of very good question. See,
Let's
whatever that you need to be done, whatever that
pulling
you
and pushing and bringing the image and spinning the containers and all those things, like how do you plan to do that?
See, whichever are reusable, like maybe a Java code, or maybe a Docker image, a blank Docker image, or some of the Puppet script, etc., that you can write down, that you can make a note of it separately, and you can write down, or you can refer to the video. That's different because they are very small in detail. But whichever are quite a good in size, yeah, they are shared. They are available online, which can be downloaded. Let us say the commands and all that, yes, those commands, everything will not be documented separately. But yes, for example, a Java code, if you want, yeah, that is already available online. A VM, yes, that is already available online. Docker image, yes, blank Docker image, that is available online. That you don't need to recreate by manually. You don't need to do anything. Most of them are available online. Very few things, like some of the commands I show you, those things are not really documented in online. You can search for them and you can get it. Even they are available online in different websites.
Okay.
So do not worry about the code. Do not worry about the commands that you need to give. Most of them are available pre-packaged online, and some of them, yes, you can still search and you can improve those things also. And once you are getting assignments in that, while solving the assignment, you may stuck with any question or anything. So along with that, you can contact these guys, and then we can provide the solution also, how it can be done, how it can be achieved, and probably the complete steps you will follow. We will give you the outline of the steps easily. So this support is also available. And finally, the solutions will be verified, and if there are any issues, or if there are any problems in the solution that was given by the student in the assignment, yes, they will be marked, and the solution will the actual solution will be given to them. And Mr. Karthik, that is what I was talking about. The entire code is already available packaged, that is available in the Git only. And we are going to use Git only, right? We are using Git as a source, SCM, and Jenkins as integration. That's what I have mentioned in the slide. So as per the package, yes, we have already packaged it.
What is your day-to-day work as a DevOps engineer, Srinivas? Like when you start your day, like what type of the tasks you will be doing, or a person joins into a DevOps job first time, what a person can expect is supposed to do? Can you just briefly talk about that?
Okay. So this is a tricky question you have asked. The DevOps engineer is expected to automate things, or improve the automations, which if they are already existing. When an DevOps engineer is joining, the expectations from him will be like, yes, this guy has knowledge of Jenkins, this guy has knowledge of Git, and if we have to, let us say the product is already going with 7.1, I want him to design the complete delivery pipeline, or maybe part of delivery pipeline for 7.4.
Will not be,
if this guy
okay.
is carrying any knowledge of other scripting languages, then he's focusing, he's saying that yes, I do have Ruby knowledge, I do have some other knowledge, then people may expect that yes, you can do automation using those scripts as well, which are widely used.
But like most of the time, checking the code and committing and pushing it to the central repository is the job of the developers, right? Is DevOps supposed to work on that? Just they should have a basic understanding of the Git command. In the day-to-day work, I'm asking you, like when you are going to the work.
My dear friend, actually we are discussing the entire course now. Strictly speaking, yes, Git, when we discuss about each of the developer tools, the basic commands are basic information that is needed to operate the tool, or to get the data from the tool, or to create a report from the tool, or to execute any script from the tool. Whichever is required for the tool, yes, that will be given in this due course. That's what the DevOps course means. The DevOps course covers the entire tool set, like Git, Jenkins, Dockers. When we talk about Dockers, we just don't talk about, yeah, this is the Docker image, done. We talk about how you can create, what are the Docker images, how they can be created, how they can be removed, and how you can push the code from Jenkins into Docker image directly and create it from there. And once you have Docker available, what are the basic commands that can be used to see what are the images available? How you can delete multiple images at a time, kind of different, yeah, we go a little deep, may not be to the full depth of it, yeah, at least we'll be covering to an extent that in that particular tool you are comfortable enough to work.
Okay.
So this will be covered in each of that. So for example, if you talk about Git, yes, we will be talking about local repositories, what are the commands that can be used, and what are the other activities you can do in the local repository, and what are the things that you can do in the remote repository, because that's a distributed system. So this will be, let's say, these are the things that we'll be covering. When we talk about Jenkins, yes, how to create the pipelines, how to create the reports, how to build the packages, this entire thing will go into the Jenkins. Now, once your package is built, where to deploy, that goes into Docker, and how you can use Puppet to synchronize systems. So Puppet, we will create artifacts, we will create manifests, we will create we will get catalogs. How the facts will be sent, this every detail will be discussed, and practically you will do that.
Okay.
Great. That's great, guys. I had a pretty interesting session and interesting questions from all of you. Thank you very much. And definitely, if you have any questions or further information that you need about the course and further courses, etc., please definitely write it to info@nextittraining.com, or you can call them, or you can Skype them as well. So that will give you much more detailed information. about the future courses, any changes in the timings of the future courses, or probably how we can have. Um, okay. Hope. Wait. So I'm just handing it over to Next IT training organizers. Okay. Okay, so we do have module 1 that I have given the details, the basic details of what we will be discussing about the agenda about the session 1 will be for tomorrow. We'll be having the session 1, that is starting of the module 1. Request all of you to join. Thank you.